What would happen if I told you that the hour of joy was all a lie and that we finally know the identity of the player? You'd call me a liar, much like I called Poppy a liar in my last video, and I don't blame you. But what has happened in the past week has turned everything on its head in the Poppy Playtime universe, or the PPU, copyright trademark, all due to this crazy ARG. And if you don't watch to the end, you're gonna miss out a lot of lore that you'll need to know before playing Chapter 5. Hear me out. Hello and welcome to part 2 of I'll Tell You When I've Had Enough, a series of theories that I'm trying to piece together for you before Broken Things drops, all due to the craziness that mob entertainment has been feeding us like a mama bird to its baby. We have a lot to cover on why you'll never look at the Hour of Joy the same way again, and how the identity of the player just got leaked. And it all starts with Mob Entertainment dropping a video on its socials in which we see how Bigger Body's experiments, who become rebellious, get reformed under the name of restricted conditioning. And the only way we got access to this video was due to a user in the Mob Entertainment Discord called Seeing Reason. Why was this user so unique and interesting that made them stand out from the crowd? You may be asking. Well, they claimed they were from the year 2004, had set up refuge in the Playtime Co. factory before dropping this cryptic zip file called Stuff I Found. Inside it is a video called Lullaby Room that shows a severely corrupted video with distorted images of an unknown woman laughing and some may say singing. Still somehow more in tune than me. I don't understand. But the interesting part is that if we freeze frame on some of these images, we get some tasty secrets. Firstly, we get a genetic sequences of X's and Y's. I'll tell you why, because it's a code. Just a little joke there. Anyway, if we convert it to binary, we get the numbers 1, 4, 16, and 17. While if we freeze frame right here, we see Kissy Missy and Huggy Wuggy hugging, obviously, with what appears to be a brand new experiment, third wheeling and also going in for a warm embrace. We'll get to this particular experiment later because right now we have access to the restricted video where we see the test subject that needs to be conditioned. Catnap. Now, if you don't know, Catnap has been the source of what Playtime Co. would call dramas. Originally a boy named Theodore who communicated and befriended the fugitive known as the Prototype, as seen in this drawing of the Prototype's claw coming from underneath his bed, Theodore tried to help Experiment 1006 by attaining a grab pack that the Prototype asked him to open a service door with, but got electrocuted instead. Who would have thought an 8-year-old boy would have known how to operate a complicated piece of electric machinery? Shocking. However, this was the moment where the Prototype showed they had a heart by giving himself up to Playtime Co. so they could save Theo's life. And what did they do to Theo? They expedited him into the Bigger Bodies initiative to make him Experiment 1188, aka Catnap. This will come into play with the wrong side Outimals, but let's focus on the conditioning video for now. A video that starts with a binary code sequence where once translated says, how did we get here? Look, before even how to get it here, now it's even more than it did then. Poetry. Shakespeare, eat your heart out. We then see two staff members looking over their work as this seemingly husk of a human being is made to answer two questions.
What is your experiment number? Can you tell me who you...
Before Catnap has enough and says... And this, viewers, is How I Met Your Mother. We then witness Catnap being rehabilitated with Playtime propaganda coming from a TV, which I believe shows this woman from the Lullaby Room tape trying to comfort them. A woman who wears purple and I believe to be singing a lullaby, a Lily Lovebraid's lullaby, but that's a theory for another day. What's important is that after 49 days of solitary confinement, we get to see if the process was successful. Spoilers, it was.
Yes, your name, please.
So how does this prove that the Hour of Joy was a lie and that we now know who the player is? Glad you asked. Check out these two staff members, two doctors actually, who overlook the labs. We get to hear just what they're thinking.
It feels weird seeing them like this.
Like what?
Like Feral? I don't know. I hardly recognize him.
Where we learned that the male seems to be quite resistant, while the female seems to be more forgiving to Playtime Co.'s practices.
Preston, if I didn't know you, I'd say you sounded like a new guy.
And this leads us to one of the biggest lore drops in Poppy Playtime history that was given away in the video's description. This male doctor is called Preston, Dr. Preston Willard to be precise, which is the same individual who wrote the Poppy Playtime Orientation Notebook, PW. Preston Willard, the man who gave away all the secrets and dirty info about Playtime's dealings that are contained within these 150 pages. And if we get this video to 1,000 likes, I'll buy the book. A man who some may say is seeing reason. Speaking of seeing reason, they came back into the Discord a week later and updated their Discord status to a mysterious URL, one that leads you to a Bandcamp website where a user by the name of CatB95 has a status that says, back in the 90s, my dad used to work for a toy company. He left a lot of audio recordings when he died. What's really odd about that is that that's the exact thing I wrote on my Tinder bio. The user also has a clearer picture of the lullaby room, which you could actually attain in the previous Seeing Reason zip file if you change the file from an MP4 to a PNG. Crazy. These audio files aren't anything special until you run them through a spectrogram, and they give us what seems to be part of a URL. By the way, credit to Fantime Horror, the Poppy Playtime wiki, and those over on the Poppy Playtime Reddit page, plus the Mob Entertainment Discord for figuring all this stuff out. All credit goes to them. I'm too dumb. I'm just making a theory of what they figured. But another zip file was able to be unlocked using the password Gilgamesh, which was an ancient king who was named in the world's oldest epic poem, which explores mortality, friendship, and the quest for immortality, which I theorized that the prototype was actually on the hunt for immortality in my other theory video, which you should totally watch after this. And why not drop a like and a subscribe now that we're talking about it? This password unlocked an email exchange between Dr. Preston and Stella Graber. Yes, the head of Playcare for Playtime Co. An exchange where we see that Preston is at the end of his rope and says, "We need to talk, do you feel the same?" And no, this isn't the start of a telenovela. This is the start of how the Hour of Joy came to be. You see, Stella and Preston, along with others who have yet to be named, formed the Backstabbers, a group of moles who plotted with the prototype to let experiments out of their confines so they could enact the Hour of Joy. Just one problem, they were still attacked by the experiments who didn't see them as allies, but rather as enemies. Who would have thought? Which is what leads us into the latest Mob Entertainment video titled Restricted Condemnation, where both the scientists that were conditioning Catnap are now in hiding after the Hour of Joy, with both having very different views. Jessica Newman, we find out, actually grew up in Playcare before coming back after attaining her degree, while Preston confesses to her that he was part of the reason why the experiments escaped. Due to their ongoing argument, one of the experiments finds out where they are from the sheer noise.
It's not that simple. You were still a part of it as much as the rest of us. We were supposed...
What we believe is Huggy attacking them is actually the unseen experiment that was hugging in the Lullaby Room video. We also see a glimpse of them in the corridor security camera before we see Preston's POV trying to escape. Unfortunately, he trips and Experiment 1202's hand comes into frame before we cut to black. What can we actually take from this? Firstly, let's look at the secrets in the video. There is a flash frame of Step 6, release the straps holding the giant, which adds on to the previous steps laid out in a former restricted video where we see Kissy Missy being transported. Another flash frame shows the text, "Can you hear us? Can you see this?" And what really is interesting is that we get a long look at this baseball contraption that has appeared in numerous official art over the holidays at the very beginning of the video. It's almost like this was the contraption used as either a homing device or something that can short circuit doors and let out the experiments during the Hour of Joy. But now let's address the elephant in the room. Why is Preston's face blacked out? Sorry. We see his colleague with no impairment. Why has Mob chosen to keep him faceless? It's this mystery that has many people considering if PW isn't short for Preston Willard, but rather player warning. A man who worked for Playtime Co. and felt such compassion for the children that he planned to backstab the company that fed one of their own workers to Boxy Boo because he knew too much. A worker who was seemingly killed but may have just vanished. This is because there's another interesting flash in the video, being this yellow notepad, which reads, "The theater incident, the disappearances, the sightings, all are true. All are connected. Nobody's safe. Everyone suffers. Some more than others. But you aren't powerless. If you believe, keep this note and find the next one this time next week. If you don't, burn it." Signing off with a friend with the warning, "Tell anyone and I'll know. Don't be stupid." A note, I think, is from Preston, because we can compare this handwriting to the one found in these ARG memoirs, which dictate Preston's last few days after the Hour of Joy, and they match. What needs to be said about these memoirs is that Poppy was walking around after the Hour of Joy and stumbled upon this group of doctors, where they pleaded with her not to give their locations away, which she obliged, but said if pushed, she'll have to tell the other toys. But it's here that we get Preston's impressions of Poppy, and it's quite conclusive. She's always struck me as a strange one. I don't trust her. Which raises the question, what if the sound of Preston and Jessica arguing didn't give their locations away? What if Poppy just told the Red Huggy where they were? The notes finish with another person's handwriting theorizing that Preston didn't survive and they left his name tag in his desk as a form of respect to what he was trying to uncover. Which leads us to this. Who is the player? Who have we been controlling for the past 4 chapters? Well, some could easily say Preston, due to the reasons above, his face being obscured, much like we can't see our face as the protagonist, and the fact he was never found. Or who I actually believe it is since chapter 1. If we look at the final flash frame in this video, we see a calendar, one that says the person is quitting on August 3rd, but underneath is an addendum, persuaded to stay, with August the 8th, 3 days after the Hour of Joy, saying their new schedule will come in to start work again. Why is this so important? Because we know that the player wasn't there for the Hour of Joy as stated in chapter 3's weird hallway sequence. We know that there was a disgruntled worker who hated Playtime's practices and had compassion for the orphans.
You were supposed to be here. Why weren't you here? You missed the event. You missed the meeting. You missed the party.
A worker who was set to be demoted and quit before being persuaded to stay due to receiving a promotion to head of shipping. I am of course talking about Richard Lovitz, because, as he says,
"Hey, no matter what the executives say, no matter the looks you get, just know that I've got your back, kid. Shipping is a family. We look out for each other. That's the way it is now. So don't fight, don't shout, just come talk to me from now on, okay? I fight for you, all of you. And I'm in a position where I can do so."